Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Nate. I'm just a guy that loves driving. I love cars, I love trucks, and I'm learning about them, so I figured we might as well go on this journey together. Today we're taking a trip back to Idaho. I live in Rexburg, Idaho. I'm going to school, and we're in Wyoming currently, and we're going through Montana this time. Yep, we're going to take the long way around for sure. Our trip today is about 400 miles long. We're going from here to Blackfoot today and then on to Rexburg tomorrow, but my goodness, isn't it beautiful. We're doing good. We're almost 90 miles into the journey. The roads have been a little worse than I expected, so I haven't been able to talk as much as I want. Hopefully on the interstate I'll be able to just set the camera down and relax a little bit. And I just thought I wanted to get into the video and I guess talk a little bit about this 2004 F-150 and my experience in owning it. This has been an amazing truck. I bought it at 153,000 miles. I now have 170,000 miles on it. So I've put close to 17,000 miles, just a little over, on this truck, and it has absolutely been a champ for all 17,000 miles. I've owned it for about 2 years now. Road's closed because it's so windy. Wow, I don't even know where to begin. I was going to record on the interstate. In fact, I recorded the whole video on the interstate, but it was so windy. I just don't know if you're going to be able to hear me good because the microphone in this camera is not good. I just found out it's mono audio, in fact, so I think I'm going to re-record the video. Hopefully you guys can hear me better this time. I am 300 miles into the journey. I've got about 2 hours, hour and a half left of driving. Hopefully the wind will let me actually talk to you guys today. So now let's finally get into the topic of this video. Let me give you an update on my 2004 Ford F-150 Fx4. That's what we're in today driving. It has been a champ this whole trip. I've been getting probably about 10 miles to the gallon, so anyways, let's talk about how this car's been to own since I got it. Let's talk about what I've done to it. Let's talk about the engine and its mechanics and how it's been as far as reliability is concerned. And yeah, let's get into it. So I bought this truck a year and a half ago with roughly 153,000 miles on it. I now have just over 170,000 miles on it. And let's talk about my ownership of it in the last 17,000 miles. And actually, guys, I have been super impressed with this truck. It has not let me down at all. I've absolutely loved owning it. I absolutely have loved driving it. And I think that I would purchase it again and again and again if I had to. So I actually bought this truck from a small dealership in Bozeman, Montana for just over $9,000. They gave me a decent deal on the truck, at least I felt like it. The story behind it is it was a trade-in from a military guy or from somebody that was in the Marine Corps, and I guess he took excellent care of it. He really did. It's got the 5.4 liter 3-valve Triton, first generation engine of the 3-valve Triton that Ford ever used in 2004. So of course it has its quirks that Ford wasn't able to work out until about 2006-ish. One of those quirks being the spark plugs and a dozen other recalls that I'll talk about later in the video. The first thing that I did when I got this truck was put a grill guard on it. Grill guards are very handy out here in Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho, just because of the amount of wildlife that are on our roads. It's funny because I am in the middle of Montana and I'm actually following somebody that I know. I ran into her, in fact I parked right by her in Bozeman when we fueled up for gas, so anyway, it's kind of funny. After I put the grill guard on, I wanted to make myself more visible from behind, so I put an adhesive light bar underneath the tailgate that goes all the way across, kind of a third brake light, if you will. It also has blinkers on it, and if I was to get creative, I could wire it in to actually be part of my tail lights and my reverse lights. But I just haven't done that, nor do I think I'm going to do that at this time. But apart from the grill guard and the light bar in back, I really haven't done anything to the outer appearance of this truck. or put any other accessories on. Many of you know that I do have a light bar. It's actually in the bed of my truck, and I've got the holes drilled in my grill guard to put that on, so more on that to come. Mechanically, this truck's been very sound in the last 17,000 miles. Of course, being the 5.4 liter 3-valve, it's a very finicky engine. You have to take very, very good care of it, so I change my oil every 3,000 miles. And for those of you that are wondering, I use a Wix or a Bosch filter every time I do that, just to keep this engine running great. That goes with any car. As long as you keep up maintenance, it should last forever. These engines, even on their bad cam phasers, are known to go up to 200 and 240,000 miles easily. I did lose my alternator at about 157,000 miles. It simply was time to replace it. It was getting old, and these old Fx4 alternators are the heavy duty ones, and so it was very expensive. It ended up costing me about $214. I bought it at O'Reilly's with the lifetime warranty, which I'm very, very happy I did, because 2,000 miles later, I was ending up having to replace it once again. I helped jump my roommate's car in between the old one and the new one, and I think it shorted out or damaged something in the alternator. But funny story is, I wasn't there to replace it. The replacement that O'Reilly's gave my mother and my uncle that put it in for me ended up actually being bad, so this truck's on its third alternator, or I should say its fourth alternator, but its third one with me. Luckily I bought the lifetime warranty, so if I do have any trouble with it, it's like a 15-minute fix, but the new one, I should say the new one, or the replacement that they gave me, I've had like 8,000 miles on it, so it should be just fine. Besides the alternator, I haven't had any trouble mechanically with the vehicle. I replaced the spark plugs. Now check that, when I say I replaced the spark plugs, I sent this truck in to get the spark plugs replaced. Yes, that's right. And that's because these engines have bad spark plugs. That's one thing that Ford recalled. They're a bit longer and they're a whole different design than any other spark plug. So what would happen is they have a weak spot in them. When they get old, they corrode and then they break off and either shoot out of your engine or get stuck in your engine block, damaging a bunch of internals. So it was just time to replace that. And when you take them out, if they are the old version, they will break off, and they can break off very easily, and you have to have a special tool to get them out. So that's my reasoning behind actually sending them in to get replaced. It cost me about $500. I'll probably never do that again, to be honest with you. But it was on its original plugs, and they did break 2 of them, so I am very, very glad that I sent it in and actually had it done by a mechanic shop or a professional. Now that they're the updated ones, in the next 60,000 miles or so, I can change them myself, and I'm not too worried about that. And as far as that goes, that's really all I've done to the truck or had to do to it. I mean, I've put in new filters, I've kept up on oil and regular maintenance, and so far she's been a champ. Hopefully I don't jinx myself saying that, but we're 300 miles into this trip and we haven't had a hiccup. I mean, it feels a little bit more sluggish than it once was. It's 15 years old. The transmission was also recalled in these. I'm on the original transmission, so it is starting to feel a bit sluggish, and I'm sure my clutch plates are getting a little bit more in there. But hey, stick with my channel, stick with the content that I update. I'm going to keep you guys updated on this pickup. I'll let you know what goes on with it. You're thinking about buying one, especially an older F-150 like this. This one's 15 years old. I would highly recommend really checking it out to make sure the regular maintenance has been done. Make sure that the truck is in great condition, and if it is, it shouldn't let you down. You shouldn't have any reliability issues with it. And the small things that you do have are going to be preventative maintenance or maintenance that really need done anyways. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. Again, my name is Nate. I'm going to be bringing you more content on my F-150 in the future and on other vehicles as I continue to learn and as I continue to experience, I guess, the automotive industry. Hopefully you guys have liked this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'm going to keep on driving. I'm going to enjoy the rest of the journey. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.
Yeah, I don't believe in destiny, I just do what's best for me. Don't listen to my enemies, they're just full of jealousy. Yeah, this legacy